All right, so our last video we looked at a trinomial that had different signs, addition, subtraction, for us to consider when we were factoring. So in this one, we're going to factor x squared plus bx plus c, but when x is less than 0, not x, when c is less than 0. So what that means is that c is negative. So you've got a negative number on the end of your trinomial. So what is the factored form of x squared plus 5x minus 6? So we look at always the c value first and we take note of the sign. C is negative. Well, to multiply two numbers together and get a negative result, like negative 6, that means your factor pairs have to have one positive number and one negative number. So let's list our factors of negative 6, and then we will talk about the signs. So I guess let's list our factors of 6. Factors of 6 are 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Those are all of our factor pairs. So I know that these two have to multiply to negative 6. So should I have a negative 1 or a negative 6? And there's just an easy way to determine this. Your b value, we have to look at our b value. So our b value is positive. So that means that the larger factor in each pair will also be positive. So when I look at the factor pairs, and that's why listing them in this organized way, if you've noticed, all the smaller factors are in our left column, all the larger factors in the right column. I need these larger factors to be positive, which means that these smaller factors will be the negative ones. And now I'm looking for a factor pair that adds up to a positive 5. So we've got negative 1 plus 6 is positive 5. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. We can see the factor pair we want is the negative 1 and 6. So our binomial factors will be x minus 1 times x plus 6. So the reason why the larger factor will also have the same sign as your b value is because if you add two numbers together, whatever the larger number is, the answer will have that sign. So if the bigger number is positive, your answer will be positive. If the bigger number is negative, your answer will be negative. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more examples just to solidify this. We're going to factor x squared minus 5x minus 14. We start with the c value, and we take note that c is negative. That means in our factors of 14, I'm going to make that a negative 14. We do need a positive factor and a negative factor in the pair. But let's list our factors. We have 1 and 14, 2 is a factor with 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, back to 7. We got them all covered. Now, how do we know which factor should be negative? Well, look at your b value. So in this one, our b is negative. So that means that the larger factor will also be negative. So we go to our factors, make the larger factors negative, and now we're going to look for a pair that adds up to negative 5. So we've got 1 plus negative 14 is negative 13, 2 plus negative 7 is negative 5. So there's our factor pair. We're going to write them as binomial factors, x plus 2 because that was positive, and x minus 7 because that was negative. All right, last one. And the more you do of these, the more we do of these, we get the hang of them. Hopefully you guys are getting used to looking at your c value first. C is negative. So what does that mean? Your factor pairs have to have a positive and a negative. So let's list our factors of 16. We've got 1, 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4, but it is a negative 16. So now we look at the b value. B value is positive. I'm just going to put a plus sign for B value is positive. So that means the larger factor will be positive. So if the larger factor is positive, so this column right here, that means the small ones must be negative. So we will put negative signs on the small factors. And now we're looking for a factor pair to add up to a positive 6. So if you go through your options, we know that negative 2 plus 8 is a positive 6. So our binomial factors are x minus 2 times x plus 8.